In this edition of Artifacts, finding art in unexpected places.
This is truly a community of artists coming together to benefit our local roadways.
The mouth-watering artistry of baking.
Since I started, I wanted to make sure that anything that we created was art forward. And a lot of what we do has this European flair based off of the flavors or the vessel that we're using for a lot of our pastries.
The power of the paintbrush.
Art for me is basically my life. It is. To me, I believe this with all my heart, that it's what I'm supposed to do.
And a band's unique sound.
Definitely a lot of infusion of really every influence that we've picked up in our musical careers along the way. We all kind of brought this all together into one band.
It's all ahead on this edition of Artifacts.
Funding for Artifacts is made possible by Sandy Raffelli, the June S. Wisham Estate, Carol Frank Buck, Merrill and Lebo Newman, Heidi Marie Rockland, Meg and Dillard Myers, the annual contributions of PBS Reno members, and by
Hello, I'm Beth Macmillan and welcome to Artifacts. You've probably noticed art taking shape along Nevada's major roads. A metal eagle in North Carson City, the large windmill in South Reno, or the detailed landscaping along Interstate 580 throughout the Truckee Meadows. These are just a few examples resulting from the Nevada Department of Transportation's Landscape and Aesthetics program. Here's a closer look at the program that's designed to merge public art with public safety.
Imagine driving through the Nevada desert and you reach an area where you see beautiful cultural symbols rising from the roadside. You see a windmill representing the ranching history in this area of South Reno. Perhaps you're on the Carson City Freeway and you see symbols that are symbolic of the Native American culture there. It's really a beautiful thing to see our community's culture and history represented right there as you're driving. You can find these landscape and aesthetics features on many of the highways, at many of the on and off ramps maintained by NDOT across Nevada. Our NDOT mission is ultimately to keep Nevadans safe and connected, and landscape and aesthetics is a vital part of that. NDOT Landscape and Aesthetics Program is a long-standing program to bring both the aesthetic and environmental and cultural benefits of landscape and aesthetics to our highways.
We'll start with analysis of the site. Where are we designing and what are we designing for? We look at the environment. There might be some environmental challenges like a lot of stormwater runoff, erosion. So we'll look at all these things as well as the culture and the history. That's what we're really after, is to develop this theme that is suitable for the area and looking for that inspiration through culture and history and the stories that we hear from people in the community. The next steps are getting help from landscape architects that takes the theme and the idea that's in our heads and then can translate that into a drawing and a plan.
When it comes to the Department of Transportation and the public art that we do for them, we'll get some CAD files from the DOT. We really look at the drawings. We have to manipulate it and make it constructible. And then we submit that back to them and go, hey, does this work for you? I really like to work with my hands. I like to make things. I enjoy taking something as rudimentary as a piece of steel and creating something really refined out of it. The things that we build, they're big. They are fun to build, and oftentimes when we're here in the shop and we're building it, and I don't have that sense of place, if you will, because we're here on 4th Street. But when you stand it up and you set it there and you look at what's really happening around you, go, that's nice, man. You know, like you can see that from a bunch of different angles. It has a lot of depth. It's good. I think the most exciting moment for all of us here at the shop is getting it on a crane and getting it in the hole.
I really like this spot here at Damani. We wanted to express the ranching heritage and the Reno rodeo that we all enjoy, and coming up with a sculptural piece that represents that with a female roper and the calf and the ranch style fencing. This theme was really well communicated in a very exciting sculpture here that we are fortunate to have artist and fabricator Paulo Sevedino take these unyielding heavy materials like steel and really bring life to them and movement.
Besides the aesthetic value of highway landscaping, there's also really tangible benefits, including economic benefits. The landscaping can help pique interest of visitors, driving them to stay longer or to visit our communities, helping enhance our community's tourism value, but also highway landscaping can help employ those who might otherwise not be employed on public works projects such as highway projects. That includes landscape architects, landscape fabricators, and so many more who really come together to not only provide this valuable artwork, but help produce an economic value from that as well.
We built 5 state monuments that are at the intersections of all the interstates. Those were so fun to make. I was just driving down 395 a couple weeks ago with my wife, and every time I do it, there's a car or two minimum pulled over and people taking photos of themselves or their family in front of the monument that we made at Topaz, and it feels good, you know? And that monument is really well designed. Seth Johnson from the DOT designed it. He did a great job. I think that public art, at the end of the day, I think it grounds people. I think it gives people a sense of place. I think it also just, you know, man, like we're going through some pretty rough stuff. Just being able to look at something, it just sort of gives you the ability to take a breath, right? I mean, maybe the wagon doesn't resonate with you, but maybe it resonates with the other guy. And I think that there's something about that. I think inherently art, music, it is crucial to the well-being of our soul.
To learn more, visit nevadadot.com/projects-programs. What's not to love about chocolate croissants, pillowy pastries, and coconut cream pies? At Born and Bred Bakehouse in Lakeland, Florida, we get a glimpse into the artistic creation of European-style baked goods.
We've been established since 2015, and we make artisanal European-style pastries with flair. I got married in 2014, and my husband and I had a very small, low-budget wedding so that we could spend some time traveling through Europe. It was something we had both wanted to do for so long, and so we did it. But that was probably the first place that I spent falling in love with bread. It was like irresistible. There was something different about the way that they processed and the way that they baked, and when I came back, I fell in love with figuring it out. In 2015, we started at the farmer's market. In 2017, we moved from the farmer's market to the space that we have next door. In 2018, we knocked down a wall and created our first retail space with seats and booths and a couch and a neon sign that says American Dream. It really transformed into something far bigger than who I am or that original intent. It's a really beautiful business. I love those thank you notes. Since I started, I wanted to make sure that anything that we created was art forward. And a lot of what we do has this European flair based off of the flavors or the vessel that we're using for a lot of our pastries, which is croissant dough. Everything that we do is like a skilled work. So nothing is coming out of a can. The syrups that we make in-house. So if you scale something, we're not using cups, we use a metric system. And you really have to be in tune as a baker with changes, whether it be seasonally or something with the flour. So there's no part of this that's easy, although bread baking and baking in general in our bakery is simple. But simple doesn't always mean easy.
I proudly describe the food to anyone that'll listen as world-class. It really is just magnificent. And it is a work of art that I had not seen before in Lakeland or in my daily culinary endeavors. The care and the tact they put into making sure that this is pulled out at this time or this goes in there at that time, it's amazing, and it is a work of art. And just to see what they come up with next. Every week it's something new, or this new pastry that I'd never heard of, that I love, that I can't get enough of. It really is a joy to be a part of it.
We tried to create seasonal menus. So something that would play into summer is the Dole Whip cruffin. A cruffin is basically our croissant dough. It's shaped into a cylinder form, and then it's baked into a larger muffin tin. And that makes it so where it comes out, the layers are kind of going in this direction. They're kind of open. We put a pastry cream inside. This one's got a pineapple curd and then a vanilla pastry cream. It's topped with whip, and it's very reminiscent of a Florida trip to Disney World. The blow stock is something that we use with the remnants of our croissant dough when we're laminating. We put them in a large tin, so it's almost like a croissant loaf or a croaf. And we slice it, we syrup it, and then seasonally we can create different ones. This summer we've created two. One is the peaches and cream, and another one is a triple berry cobbler. The menu is ever changing, and that is a really fun part of what we do. And I think for a customer, knowing that every week they could get something different is exciting. An average day for one of our bakers is coming in pretty early. I would say most days someone's coming in between 6:30 or 7, which isn't wild. But as we get closer to the weekend, which is currently the only time that we're open with the COVID pandemic, our night baker, first night baker would come in at 9 p.m. on Friday. Then we have another night baker that comes in around 10. And then our shifts kind of vary, but the last person's roughly coming in at 3 a.m. So that shift is very early. During that time, there's not a lot of time to stop or pause. This puzzle piece fits here for a reason, and we have a deadline and a goal, but it is this organized chaos.
So our kitchen is comprised of different tiers where everyone works together and hones their craft. So everybody's gonna come in and they'll start scaling and start measuring. And then as you grow in your confidence in the bakery, you'll start shaping this or cutting that. It's a precision craft. So in a roundabout way, everybody comes together to complement each piece the best they can.
There's a lot of purpose for the team members that we have, and there's constant challenges of how to grow and adapt and become better, and they do that with such incredible heart.
I love being a part of Born and Bred because I love the way it serves our community, and I think that that's really important.
The community of Lakeland, I once said to a friend, is almost like when you have a bad day and you might go for a car ride and you put on one of those playlists that seem to make you happy. They're one of those communities that it's that playlist over and over again. On hard days, on rough weeks, when you don't think that they're gonna show up. If it rains, they're in ponchos and umbrellas. If a pandemic hits, they find ways to support you. I don't know that it would be the same in another city. I hope that people, through the story of Born and Bred, understand that at any point in their life, they could say, I want to just try to do something. And it doesn't have to be big, and it was never an intention to make something big. But I am incredibly grateful, even on the bad days, for the support of the community and the opportunity to grow such an incredible team.
For more information, visit bornandbredbakehouse.com. And now let's take a look at this week's art quiz. Julia Child's groundbreaking book, Mastering the Art of French Cooking, Volume 1, was originally published in which year? Is the answer A, 1959, B, 1961, C, 1963, or D, 1965? And the answer is B, 1961. Up next, we meet Russell Nelson, an artist and veteran who is overcoming struggle and hardship to pursue his passion, painting. We travel to Cincinnati, Ohio for his inspirational story.
I take life one day at a time, learn that the hard way, but never take for granted what's given to you. Always be grateful and humble about it, and make the most of what you do get and work with it and make it your own. When I do wake up in the morning and I look around and I am just astonished of where I was and what I am now, and as I said, just to be grateful for what I have and the opportunities that's coming my way, it's overwhelming sometimes. I just lay there in bed and just like, wow. And I really had no direction, and I went to the Army, started talking to the recruiter there, and they talked me into doing the chemical corps. So, and they told me that, all I'd be doing is just showing people how to wear their gas masks and working at company level and have my own office, whatnot, and just train people in chemical warfare. So I was like, wow, cool. I ended up in a really bad situation. I went to Europe after schooling, and I ended up, it's kind of classified, but it was not what they told me it was going to be. So I spent 3 years in the military, mostly in Europe, in Germany. And when my time was up, I just went ahead and got out. The transition from military to civilian life, it was kind of hard. I had to go back home to mom and dad's, for a while. And I took mediocre jobs here and there, and I started drinking heavy. It was more or less a chore, I wouldn't even get drunk anymore. For the most part, like the happy-go-lucky drunk, you have your faculties about you, but it got to the point where I would drink and I would black out. And then I finally realized, hey, look, this is starting to be a problem, and I need to address it. As older as I got, I drank more, and then a few times it did become a problem. That's when I found myself homeless, and that's the worst feeling in the world, to end up with, the clothes on your back and a little duffel bag. That's it, What the hell am I going to do? I was staying at the Goodwill out in the Tri-County area, Springfield. I was drinking there, and the director, Lee, he pretty much put his foot down. It's like, look, Russ, you're a nice guy and everything, but you're heading in the wrong direction again. Yeah, we can see it. I want to call somebody and have you go to this place I know. He was an alumni. He went there. And I said, okay, that's fine. And that's when Joseph House came into play. The Joseph House, the staff, the counselors, everyone there really and truly want to help you. I got to the Joseph House and started going to the painting classes with Sarah, the art therapist there, where I actually started sitting down and got, warmed up to painting again. I try to make my art, my painting, my own. It's my style. I got it down now to a science, to where I can do a painting in one day, no problem. It's just the knowing, and also it's a natural gift. Art for me is basically my life. It is. To me, I believe this with all my heart, that it's what I'm supposed to do. Being able to do what I do and having other people enjoy what I do, that's, I don't want to make it sound like it's self-serving, but in a way it is. I in my own mind, in the dark recesses of my studio, I'm happy. The world gives, you give back. And not only, in what you do in life, but you personally as a person. You have to be able to love people. First, you gotta love yourself, but you have to get back to humanity in this world. Be fully whole, and to be kind. I'm fortunate enough. My art therapy helped me. It got me back on track, and got me to where I'm going now. But you have to find what you're looking for. You can't find it in a bottle. You can't find it in a needle, in a crack pipe, whatever. That's not you. That's just an outside influence that's holding you back. If you care enough about yourself, you will not have an outside force dictating how you live. You shouldn't. You just can't do it. In order to be a contributing factor in society. Nowadays, it's sink or swim. So the choice is up to you, but you have to make that choice.
Now let's head to South Florida to meet Billy the Squid and the Seacow Drifters. These musicians blend a variety of sounds to make music that is one of a kind.
I'm Billy the Squid. This is Jared Eisman. We are Billy the Squid and the Seacow Drifters. I'm the lead singer and harmonica player.
I play guitar, electric guitar, lead guitar.
Somewhere along this road.
When we first started out, it was super country.
Very country.
Very country. We had, like slide and it was slow kind of swinging country stuff.
I think Jared was just trying to ease me in.
Yeah, trying to make a rock and roller out of him.
Makes it like wreckage on the road.
Definitely a lot of infusion of really every influence that we've picked up in our musical careers along the way. We all kind of brought this all together into one band and consolidated it into one kind of strange sound.
You gotta take that wheel, boy, and haul your heavy load. All right.
Kind of like spaghetti western surf stuff. We look a little out of place, I think, sometimes, and sound a little out of place because it's a lot of music. Like he's saying, he's singing like cowboy songs. He grew up on a ranch, and you know what I mean. But we're starting to kind of fit it in with not really an islandy sound, but just kind of a laid-back sound, which Key West is just laid back, just kind of mixing the sounds together. But definitely it stands out.
Key West also had a long history of folk and country musicians coming through here for a long, long time. I'm just happy we can kind of bring it back to, you know, more of that original sound.
Discover more at billythesquidband.com. And that wraps it up for this edition of Artifacts. For more arts and culture and to watch past episodes, visit pbsreno.org/artifacts. Until next week, I'm Beth Macmillan. Thanks for watching.
Funding for Artifacts is made possible by Sandy Raffelli, the June S. Wisham Estate, Carol Frank Buck, Merrill and Lebo Newman, Heidi Marie Rockland, Meg and Dillard Myers. The annual contributions of PBS Reno members, and by